The official Nintendo magazine cover showcases N64 games, prominently featuring Duke Nukem 0 Hour, with a promised explosive first-ever play, and Turok 2, with a huge game guide. The magazine promises news and previews, N64 exclusives, and game guides for £2.95. Additional content includes a tips for tons of N64 games section highlighting titles like Legend of Zelda, WCW/NWO Revenge, and 1080 Snowboarding. Teasers for Smash Bros. With new shots, and a massive review of FIFA 99 are also present, along with page numbers indicating where to find specific features. The cover aims to generate hype for the latest N64 games, offering tips and guides. This page is a full-page advert for Wipeout 64 on the Nintendo 64. Right in your face it says, 4-player Wipeout only on Nintendo 64, hammering home the point that if you want to play Wipeout with your mates, you needed an N64. It features a very dynamic image of one of those futuristic anti-gravity racers, sparks flying and all that, very 90s. There are also some small screenshots, showing off the in-game action, the usual racing vistas and speed blur. They're pushing the music aspect too, boasting about tunes from Fluke and Propellerheads, which back then was quite a big deal for adding to the atmosphere, even if it probably sounds a bit dated now. Published by Psygnosis and Midway, so a decent pedigree there. It's all pretty standard advert fare really, trying to convince you that Wipeout 64 was the multiplayer racing experience you needed on your N64. This magazine introduction boasts its status as the UK's best-selling Nintendo publication, highlighting promises of exclusive news, authentic screenshots, and trustworthy content. The editorial team, Team Nintendo, is introduced with names like Mark, Alex and Sean. Contact information, including a reader tip line and a distribution number, is provided. The cover features Duke Nukem 0 Hour and Turok 2, popular N64 titles. The issue, dated February 1999, number 77, suggests the N64 is nearing the end of its cycle. The introduction concludes with a call to explore the magazine's content. This page is shouting about Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the N64 right on the cover of the official Nintendo magazine. Bit dramatic, innit? They're claiming the first playtest and all the info, as if we haven't seen enough of Duke and his pig-like enemies before. Inside the mag, they're promising to show you all the levels, the vicious monsters, wicked weapons, multiplayer mode, and even Duke's trendy threads. Sounds like they're really scraping the barrel for content there. Warrenser. Down in the corner there's a game news section saying it's got all the new games and first and best news. Looking at the list, you've got the usual sports games of the time like All-Star Tennis 99, Fox Sports College Hoops 99, and NHL Blades of Steel 99, because who doesn't love a bit of digital sport? Then for platformers there's Rayman 2 and Smash Bros, always a safe bet for some multiplayer fun. And then you have the slightly odd ones like Bugs and Lola Bunny and Operation Carrot Patch. Not sure about those. Carmageddon, Castlevania, Donkey Kong World 64, Hybrid Heaven, Mario Party, Nightmare Creatures, Pikachu Genkidetsu, and Quake 2 are also listed, so a real mixed bag of games from cartoon platformers to racers and shooters. If you're actually bothered about Duke Nukem, apparently it's all on page 6. And if you really want more of this game news, you can find it on page 92. This page summarizes content from a Nintendo magazine, covering various sections. Reviews highlights Micro Machines, 64 Turbo, FIFA 99, Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, and a comprehensive game rating section called Total Test. Game Guides offers assistance for games like Turok 2, V-Rally Edition 99, and a Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time guide, including tips and player secrets. The Blagfest section runs competitions to win Nintendo prizes like Turok 2 merchandise, WCW/NWO Revenge games, and Zelda cartridges. Finally, Club Mario encourages reader participation by showcasing letters, pictures, and Nintendo-related content. Overall, the page reflects a typical Nintendo magazine layout, blending reviews, guides, and contests to engage readers. This page is all about Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the N64. Remember Duke? Always a bit of a lad, wasn't he? With his cheesy lines. Anyway, according to this, GT Interactive are bringing him back in March '99 for a 3D shoot-'em-up romp. They're billing it as Duke's Back and First Play Anywhere, which I suppose is the N64's thing, being cartridge-based and all. They're saying if you liked Duke Nukem 64, then you'll love this. Apparently, it's supposed to be better in every way. Faster action, Tougher enemies, bigger bosses, and even more explosive weapons. Sounds like they're just cranking everything up to 11. Standard sequel stuff really. They're also banging on about time travel, with Duke going to the Wild West and Victorian England. That's a bit different, I'll give them that. Wasn't expecting to see Duke in a Stetson. There are a few screenshots. One has Duke on some street firing a shotgun, another is in what looks like the Wild West with a rifle, and the last one is just a massive explosion with Duke presumably in the middle of it. The captions are your typical Duke lines. Come get some. And everything in 0 hour is bigger, badder and better. Yeah, we get it. Bigger is better apparently. Still, could be a bit of fun if you're into that kind of thing. This page is another look at Duke Nukem 0 Hour. Looks like they're really pushing the boat out for this one. It's a full-page advert, featuring one of those pig cop blokes, you know the ones. They were always a pain in the original Duke Nukem 3D. This one's got a massive shotgun, and is wearing a helmet with L.ARD on it. Subtle, eh? They're definitely laying it on thick, with the big game tag at the top. Alongside the Nintendo 64 logo. Just to remind us what console it's for. Down at the bottom it says Duke's old pals the pig cops have returned to dish out their own porky style of justice. So yeah, more of the same then, but on the N64. Guess if you like shooting pig policemen in space, you'll be well catered for when this one comes out. Duke Nukem 0 Hour, a N64 title, pits Duke against aliens manipulating time to eliminate his ancestors. Players must time travel to stop them, offering a classic sci-fi premise. This installment features a third-person perspective, a departure from previous games. Duke is constantly visible, aiming with a crosshair, and the camera adjusts near walls. The game promises varied environments, including snow. Fewer options, highlights limited settings, with control styles mirroring GoldenEye's popular setup. Using the expansion pack enables high-resolution graphics. The game's frequent use of the rumble pack might necessitate adjusting its intensity. Players can wield 2 weapons. Despite the third-person perspective, the game appears to be a solid entry for Duke fans. In Duke Nukem 0 Hour's big game overview, Duke faces pig cops and lizard men in a time-traveling adventure to save the present. The action begins in New York City, with environmental hazards like gas canisters and car alarms adding to the chaos. A key focus is the transition from first-person to third-person gameplay. The Take Control section details the N64 controller layout. The 3D stick controls movement and aiming. Z fires, B is for actions, C button strafe, A cycles weapons, forward only, and R jumps and zooms the sniper rifle. The layout aims to provide a familiar Duke experience, despite the perspective change, prioritizing trigger-happy gameplay. This page in the magazine continues the Duke Nukem 0 Hour feature. Take a Break starts by pointing out the environmental touches, like helicopters hilariously crashing and car alarms going off. Classic Duke, always aiming for maximum carnage and silliness. They even mention the sound design, which was properly immersive back in the day, remember? Then Duke says, is all about his iconic one-liners, with, "Ooh, fresh hardware." As the prime example, you can almost hear Don Brown's delivery when he grabs a new weapon. Big Bad Bosses gets us prepped for Boss Hog, and they ain't kidding about the difficulty. Strafing is essential to survive this one apparently, especially since he's mobile on a ruddy tank. They even suggest using the sniper rifle for a bit of range, a touch more tactical than just running in with guns blazing. Finally, Power-Packed Weapons showcases some of the tools of destruction. The M40 blaster is your starting point, naturally, with the shotgun for when you need to get up close and personal. Grenades and pipe bombs bring the boom for crowd control. Then there are the more inventive bits, like the laser wire for setting traps, and the utterly bonkers firepower of the cannon, Havoc gun, scatter laser, and Volt cannon, peak Duke Nukem levels of over-the-top destruction. The next page is a bit of a change of pace, isn't it? Looks like we've moved away from the Duke and straight into an advert for Sunny Delight. Classic 90s vibes with the bright colors and people on skateboards. Catchy slogan at the top. Whenever, wherever, reach for the sun. Bit cheesy but memorable, I suppose. It's all about that fruity drink and feeling energetic, you know the drill. This page is all about Duke Nukem 0 Hour on the N64, taking a trip to the Wild West it seems. So Duke, bless him, has swapped his usual getup for some cowboy gear, blue jeans and a vest. Proper Clint Eastwood style apparently. They're saying, the lizard men and pig cops are still causing trouble, twirling shotguns like they're in a western. Bit of a strange mix, isn't it? Duke in the Wild West fighting those blokes, but hey, it's Duke. There's a bit of advice section called Watch the Windows. Classic Duke Nukem tip really. telling you to keep moving and watch out for enemies popping out of windows, lizard men specifically. Apparently they like to ambush you. They even point out that not just windows are dangerous, even pictures on the walls can be dodgy, which sounds like a right pain. 3 screenshots here showing what they're on about lizard men in windows and some dodgy picture frame action. Typical Duke Nukem chaos really, always something trying to blast you. The article previews Duke Nukem 0 Hour, highlighting specific levels and enemies. Big Game shows Duke facing a lizard man, with classic Duke one-liners, and a focus on his ruthless, take-no-prisoners attitude. Next, Sting in the Tail details the cyborg Scorpion boss, a dangerous foe with machine guns and lava hazards. The advice given is to keep your distance and target his head. Finally, Minecart Madness introduces a first-person minecart level filled with lizard men, requiring quick reflexes and strategic weapon use, like the powerful scatter laser, to survive the chaotic, fast-paced combat. The levels capture the Duke spirit of action, humor, and over-the-top gameplay. The next page is all about the action replay for the N64. You remember those things? Essentially, it was the must-have gadget if you were a bit of a cheat. Or code junkie as they call it here. This is the professional version. Sounds very fancy, doesn't it? They're pushing the freeze mode, which lets you pause the game and get back to the action exactly where you left off, which was actually quite handy back in the day when save points were sometimes a bit stingy. And then there's the code generator, apparently letting you create your own cheat codes, which sounds like a lot of faff, but I'm sure some people were into that. They're listing all the usual cheats you'd expect: infinite health, extra lives, weapons, vehicles, and even hidden levels. Back then, getting stuck in a game was a proper nightmare, no easy internet walkthroughs, so these things were a godsend, even if it took a bit of the challenge out. It was priced at £39.99, which was a fair whack of cash back then, but for some games, especially the really tough ones, it felt worth it. You could get it from Game and Electronics Boutique, the usual suspects, and they even had a code hotline you could ring for new cheats. 50p a minute. Blimey, they knew how to make a quid, didn't they? They also mention their website, Datal, which seems ancient now. Good times, good times. Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the N64 is presented as a graphical showcase, boasting fully 3D environments and more realistic monsters. The game features hostage rescue missions, where Duke must save babes from pig cops, though the reward is minimal. Expect copious amounts of gore, with enemies reacting realistically to damage, including stumbling and exploding. The game highlights over-the-top violence, with Duke's catchphrase, "Come on, bleed for me," uttered when enemies are near death. A sniper rifle, similar to GoldenEye's, allows for zoomed-in targeting, though movement is slowed. The game promises a violent, action-packed experience, with a focus on 3D graphics and excessive gore. This page showcases Duke Nukem 0 Hour for the N64, and it's looking proper moody. The first bit is called Land of Hope and Glory, setting the scene in old London town. Apparently, after saving the Wild West, Duke's off to London to rescue survivors. The enemies are now Victorian policeman-style pig cops, which is a bit of alright. The text hints it's not going to be a sightseeing tour for Duke, which is fair enough considering the last game. Then there's the backstreets, which sounds atmospheric. They're saying Whitechapel is a nerve-wracking place with thick fog and creepy music. They mention zombies walking about, even though there are no living souls to be seen. Bit of a contradiction there, lads, but hey-ho. It's all about the atmosphere, they reckon, and disguising the pop-up, which on the N64 was always a bit of a giggle, wasn't it? Finally, Nowhere to Go highlights the level design. They're saying you can mostly find your way around, but sometimes you'll hit a dead end, and then loads of enemies turn up. Classic Duke style. The advice is to look at the scenery for clues, sometimes even blowing up walls with dynamite, to find hidden paths. The screenshots show just that, dead ends and suspicious walls. Typical level design, for the time really. All in all, it's sounding like a decent romp through London, with Duke. Maybe a bit more atmospheric than just blasting everything in sight. The Duke Nukem 0 Hour preview focuses on its London setting and zombie enemies. The article highlights the zombies' resilience, suggesting they take multiple shots to kill, and uses the foggy environment to create atmosphere and mask potential technical limitations. Screenshots show Duke battling zombies in London streets and corridors, including a zombie in a top hat. The preview mentions the zombies are slow, offering a chance to defeat them before they get too close. A Duke says, quote, provides classic Duke one-liner, "Dead and ugly. That's hard." The preview hints at a grim, zombie-filled experience, with the hope the gameplay delivers. This preview details the enemies in Duke Nukem 0 Hour, You'll face lizard men, easy grunts, pig cops, slow but strong, aim for the head, drones, hovering robots that explode, octobrains, mobile, airborne attackers, and later, persistent zombies. The mantis presents a significant threat, equipped with a powerful bite, gas attacks, and building jumping ability. Duke himself chimes in with his signature one-liners, apparently after defeating enemies, adding to the game's classic charm. The game promises a varied roster of foes beyond the typical zombie fare. This page is a massive advert, a full-page spread no less, for The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time on the Nintendo 64. Blimey, remember the hype for this one? It screams most anticipated video game ever right at the bottom there, and it was slated for December 98. You can see Link front and center, sword and shield in hand, surrounded by a bunch of the beasties you'd be facing. Giant Lizalfos, some sort of undead bloke, and even Ganondorf lurking in the shadows. Nintendo really knew how to build anticipation back then, didn't they? Big game discusses Duke Nukem, 0 Hour on the N64. Duke returns to New York after time-traveling antics, facing alien threats. The game features Duke vs. Duke, where clones from different time periods, armed with Duke's wit and weapons, attempt to eliminate him. The article highlights the humor, mentioning posters parodying other games and shows, like Turok and South Park, offering comedic relief amidst the action. This article suggests a fun and action-packed experience. Duke Nukem, 0 Hour on the N64 focuses on its improved multiplayer mode. It promises a faster-paced experience compared to the original Duke 64, drawing comparisons to GoldenEye. The game features Duke vs. Duke multiplayer, with various costumes and a 4-player view. Iconic enemies like the regenerating lizardmen return. The review highlights positive gameplay, impressive enemies, and a strong multiplayer aspect, suggesting the game could be a must-have title if finalized. Overall, the review is optimistic, suggesting that 0 Hour may surpass the original Duke 64. This page is a full-on advert for Rally 99 on the N64. Blimey, they've really gone for it with the mud, haven't they? Massive, mucky car wheel taking up most of the page with the N64 console, looking a bit out of place at the bottom like they've just plonked it there after dragging it through a swamp. Apparently, Rally 99 boasts all the official WRC 1998 cars, 12 of them. It's got 48 rally tracks, across 8 countries, so plenty of variety then. They're banging on about battling against time and other cars, and how you can't trust the weather or the punishing night stages. Sounds like your typical rally game really, but on the N64, so you know it's going to be decent enough for a bit of fun, especially if you are into your rally games. At the bottom, they've shoved in some tiny screenshots of the game. Typical racer stuff with cars driving around tracks. You can't beat it, they claim. Well, we'll see about that, won't we? This page is another look at Rally 99 for the N64. It's a full-page advert, really ramming home the off-road, muddy rally vibe, what with that massive tyre covered in muck dominating the image. Right in the middle, it says loud and proud, Rally 99, on Nintendo 64. Just in case you missed it. They've pulled out some quotes at the bottom, from magazines to try and get you hyped. Apparently, then 64 magazine reckons it aces all the other car driving games out there. Bit strong, isn't it? Total Control says it's a game that Nintendo owners have been crying out for. Bit dramatic, lads. Total 64 to 90% and N64 Pro are also quoted saying it's a fantastic racing game and pure adrenaline rush respectively. Basically, they're all saying it's a good game. We know from the previous page that it's got all the official WRC cars from 98, so you can rag around in those. Plus loads of rally tracks across different countries and all that weather and night racing stuff to spice things up. Standard rally game fare really, but for the N64, they've stuck the Infogrames and Nintendo logos down there too, so you know who's responsible for all this mudslinging action. Can't beat it, they reckon? Well, we'll have to see about that, won't we? This page is all about the latest Nintendo 64 reviews then. Looks like they're giving Micro Machines 64 Turbo the full beans, slapping an awesome award on it. Remember Micro Machines? Proper top-down racer, great for a laugh with mates. They reckon this Turbo version is a must-play, scoring it in the 90,100 bracket. That's their awesome zone, reserved for the real cream of the crop. Apparently it's only given to games they love and think you really must play, and only for games scoring over 90%. Sounds like they're really rating it, saying the courses are giant and amazing, and it's a laugh with up to 8 players. They've got a scoring system laid out on the left, breaks it down from real rubbish at the bottom end, to amazing game you must play, at the top. Makes it nice and clear what they think of each game. Join to Other N64 titles getting a mention are FIFA 99, naturally it was that time of year, and Rogue Squadron, the Star Wars flight sim. FIFA 99 they're saying is ready to kick off, standard stuff, whilst Rogue Squadron is pegged as a new Star Wars adventure, where you lead the rebel forces and save the galaxy. Can't go wrong with a bit of Star Wars back then, can you? All in all, seems like a decent roundup of what was new on the N64 at the time, with Micro Machines 64 Turbo taking the spotlight. This page continues on from the last one with a proper look at Micro Machines 64 Turbo, which they've already slapped that awesome award on, so they clearly rate it. Big picture of a souped UP red racer kicking up some flames, looks like it's tearing it up on a breakfast table, judging by the Cheerios and pretzels scattered about. The review is headlined, "Let's Hit Turbo," and they're saying it's been years since Micro Machines graced a Nintendo console, but now it's back on the N64, with all those dinky vehicles we know and love. Apparently you get to race across loads of crazy tracks, jumping over cereal boxes and crashing through dirt in the back garden, proper Micro Machines style. They mention you can control loads of vehicles, from F1 cars to ice cream vans, and get up to 8 players going at it, which sounds like utter chaos, in a good way. There are a couple of screenshots showing the in-game action, top-down view as you'd expect, with what looks like a Weetabix box track, and tips like hit the cheese to fly over the cereal box. They reckon the tracks are cool, which yeah, they always were a bit different in Micro Machines, weren't they? Good bit of fun for a laugh with your mates, this one. Micro Machines 64 Turbo offers diverse game modes, including head-to-head, challenge, time trial, single race, tournament, teams, and party play for up to 8 players. Players can choose from a variety of land and sea vehicles. The tank accelerates well, but has ineffective bombs. The speedboat is fast, but brakes poorly. The Formula 1 car has excellent grip but fragile bodywork. The armored car is fast and sturdy but handles poorly. The lorry has good top speed with slow acceleration. The monster truck is strong but slow to brake. The Jeep handles well. The Mini handles well but is easily knocked off course. The game seems to provide a range of vehicles to suit different play styles. Kia. Micro Machines 64 Turbo is reviewed as a fun game for the N64. The review focuses on the fast-paced gameplay, with 5 turbo levels offering intense speed. Visually, the game is described as colorful and smart, with well-designed 3D worlds, particularly the quirky breakfast table setting. The lights head-to-head mode is highlighted, where players compete to change lights to their color, though it's tougher than it appears. The review mentions specific vehicles like the dune buggy and ice cream van, noting their handling characteristics and potential challenges. The review touches on the game's funky but repetitive tunes, amusing sound effects, and cool, albeit small, explosions. Overall, the review is positive, covering the core elements of the game and its appeal. This page features a massive monster truck. It's bright red, and looks like it's just landed from a jump, maybe crashing through something. Typical monster truck stuff, eh? It's definitely got that chunky, slightly polygonal look of early 3D graphics. You can see Thor written on the side, which I guess is the name of the truck. The tires have Codemasters on them, so it's almost certainly one of their games. Knowing Codemasters back then, they were pretty good at arcade-style races, so I'm guessing this is some kind of monster truck racing or destruction game. There's also a little yellow toy truck, and a blue and green bottle, and a spade in the background. Looks a bit like a kid's sandbox or something. Down in the corner is a beach ball, very random. Up in the corner it says free poster, so this was probably one of those pages you could rip out and stick on your wall, back when magazines actually came with freebies. Yeah, probably a poster for some monster truck game from Codemasters on the N64. Simple but eye-catching for the time. This review covers the beach track in Micro Machines 64 Turbo, describing it as a tricky, chaotic track with bumpy dunes. The review highlights key sections marked on a track map: a lollipop start, a frisbee corner, a speed-boosting plank, treacherous starfish and pebbles, a bikini jump, sandcastle obstacles, a green bottle final corner, and a celebratory finish. The review also discusses power-ups. Players can collect green boxes and activate weapons with the Z button, including mines, a grapple, a shield, a hammer, fireballs, and missiles. These power-ups are designed to amp up the already chaotic racing experience, making the game a fun, multiplayer experience. The next page of the magazine delves deeper into Micro Machines 64 Turbo, showcasing 4 of the tracks in the game. First up is Pool Table, described as one of the easiest tracks, set on a giant pool table, naturally. They mention the chalk lines marking the route, and you'll be dodging pool balls and cues, which sounds pretty standard Micro Machines chaos. Then there's Science Lab, a more dangerous zone with chemical spills and magnets, and apparently, lab equipment that'll suck you up and spit you out. Charming. Restaurant is the crazy dinner table level, warning you about napkins slowing you down and wine bottles. They even point out Le Belch wine. Bit of a naff joke, but hey, it was the 90s. Finally, there's breakfast table, which they reckon is one of the best levels. This one's got Wheaties cereal box tracks, cheese jumps, and milk slicks. Sounds like classic Micro Machines silliness, using everyday household objects to create racetracks, which was always the charm of these games, wasn't it? They're really pushing the chaos and fun of the game, highlighting the different themes and track features, making it sound like a right laugh in multiplayer. Micro Machines 64 Turbo features two highlighted tracks, Garden and Pond, where players navigate a garden with obstacles like snails and dirt, and School Desk, which transforms everyday objects into a racetrack with ruler bridges and calculator jumps. The game's multiplayer, Party Play, supports up to 8 players using a shared controller setup, which sounds chaotic and difficult to control, leading to team battles and tournaments. The reviewer gave the game an 87%, noting it could have been a classic but is also frustrating due to the controls, suggesting a tough driving challenge for players. FIFA 99 for N64, released in March 1999 for £49.99, is presented as a top-tier football game. The review praises its faster gameplay, improved keepers, and dazzling shots, highlighting a significant improvement over previous FIFA titles. It boasts multiplayer capabilities, requiring a memory pack but lacking Rumble Pack support. The game includes popular clubs and star players like Bergkamp, Owen, Shearer, and Beckham. Screenshots showcase classic matchups like England versus Argentina. The review emphasizes various game modes, including Friendly, Golden Goal, and Dream League, offering diverse gameplay options. Overall, FIFA 99 is portrayed as a must-have title for football fans on the U64, with a promising amount of content. This review of FIFA 99 for the N64 highlights its visual appeal, claiming it resembles a TV broadcast with smooth player animations, impressive for its time. The gameplay is easy to pick up, utilizing the N64 controller with the C button for speed boosts, though overuse caused fatigue, B for shooting and tackling, A for passing, and Z for sliding tackles and lofted passes. The review also praises the inclusion of John Motson's commentary, alongside standard match day sounds. A season mode, allowing players to manage a team through league and cup competitions, is emphasized. Overall, the review suggests FIFA 99 offered a positive experience for football fans on the N64. This page continues the FIFA 99 review, getting into the manager mode, which they're calling Be a Manager, likening it to being Alex Ferguson, which was probably the highest praise you could give a football game back then. It mentions you can tinker with tactics, formations, and even buy players, proper wheeler dealing. There's a screenshot showing the team management screens, which look pretty standard for the time. Crew. There's a first tip box, giving advice on flicking the ball up and then tapping C to get around your marker, a classic cheesy FIFA trick. Then the lineup section focuses on Premier League teams, with details on Arsenal, Aston Villa, Blackburn, Charlton and Chelsea. For each team, they list a star player, formation, all 442 predictably, kit colour, and a FIFA footy tip. Arsenal's tip is about passing and using Anelka's pace, Aston Villa is about bringing on Charles off the bench, Blackburn is about using Daly and swapping him for Peacock if he's slow, Charlton is about bringing on Barnes for defence, and Chelsea is all about wing play and crossing to exploit their heading ability. It's all pretty basic stuff really, but helpful for someone just picking up the game for the first time back then. Borinchesha Winkry. Finally, there's a one-player section mentioning league tournaments and loads of teams for single-player, saying you'll be playing deep into extra time, which, let's be honest, we all did back then, didn't we? FIFA 99 offers improved gameplay mechanics. Players can now prevent throw-ins by dragging the ball back with their feet. Ball control includes chest trapping, enabling players to shield and shoot. Team tactics allow in-game adjustments like the offside trap, defensive pushes, wing-back runs, and through balls. The review also offers team-specific lineup advice for Premier League teams. Coventry should utilise Gary McAllister through the middle. Derby should sub in Dion Burton for flair. Everton should swap Grant for Oster. Leeds should use Halley for speed in defence. Finally, Leicester should cross to Heskey and Cottee. This review previews FIFA 99 on the N64, highlighting its features and gameplay. The article showcases various teams like Liverpool, Manchester United, and Newcastle, mentioning star players and their formations. Each team gets a FIFA footy tip, such as utilising Irwin's versatility for Man Uti Dead. The review also details silky skills, like the double step over and flick over, along with instructions on how to dive, risky, and avoid tackles. The review emphasizes the game's use of motion capture, making it visually impressive for its time. Overall, it's a standard preview providing a glimpse of the game's tactics, skills, and even its questionable diving mechanics. Nintendo official magazine gives FIFA 99 a 90% score, deeming it awesome. The review highlights several teams, including Sheffield Wednesday, Southampton, Tottenham, West Ham, and Wimbledon, detailing their formations, key players, and playing styles. What a goal! Demonstrates using the 3D stick for various shots. Improved keepers and impressive volleys are noted, along with numerous international teams and the inclusion of specific player moments. Multiplayer is praised for friendly matches and tournaments. The magazine encourages readers to share their opinion on whether FIFA 99 provides the best football experience. Star Wars: Rogue Squadron for the N64 receives a glowing review, earning top marks. The game, set after the Death Star's destruction, casts players as Luke Skywalker leading Rogue Squadron. Expect to pilot X-Wings, Y-Wings, and even the Millennium Falcon across 15 worlds battling Imperial forces. The review highlights the game's attention to detail and promises an authentic Star Wars experience, including the iconic theme music. You can choose your craft from the Rebel hangar, with the X-Wing praised for its controls. The review contrasts Rogue Squadron favorably with the disappointing Shadows of the Empire, declaring it a return to form for LucasArts. At a price of £44.99, it's a must-play for Star Wars fans. This review of Rogue Squadron praises its gameplay, highlighting the variety of weapons available for each ship. Players will use blaster cannons, special weapons activated with different button combinations, gun turrets, and rockets to take down waves of TIE bombers. The review emphasizes the importance of radar, managing limited rocket supplies, and targeting enemy bombers. The sound section notes the familiar Star Wars soundscape, including the iconic music and sound effects. Gameplay tips include skimming the horizon for bombers and using the radar to locate enemies. The review also showcases the Y-Wing, powerful, slow, the Airspeeder, fast, no shields, and the V-Wing, fast and powerful. Overall, the review is highly positive, praising the game's Star Wars theme and solid gameplay, though acknowledging some hype. Rogue Squadron on 64 offers a classic Star Wars experience. The game immerses players with iconic locations from the films, like Tatooine, in its opening level, providing strong fan service. Fighter Control guides players through ship handling, enabling them to master controls for combat, including loop-de-loops and air brakes. The game adds variety with special moves, showcasing unique abilities for different Rebel fighters, such as X-Wing's wing-closing speed boost and Y-Wing's charged cannons. One-player mode promises 15 action-packed levels, challenging players to earn gold medals. A tip even alludes to a Hoth-like walker battle. Rogue Squadron's engaging gameplay made it a beloved Star Wars title on the N64. This page reviews the N64 game Rogue Squadron, focusing on mission previews and gameplay tips. The first mission, Mos Eisley, involves typical Star Wars action on Tatooine, including spaceport defense and dogfights. The guide then explains the radar, highlighting mission routes, enemy locations, red, and friendly units, green, with a damage indicator. Battle of Barkesh tasks players with protecting a rebel convoy from mounting gun turrets, and @STS, emphasizing the importance of convoy survival. Search for the Nonna sends players over Korax Lakes to combat TIE fighters, and @STS, prioritizing TIE fighter elimination. Overall, the page provides clear mission previews and helpful gameplay advice for players, reflecting the style of game guides from 1998. This review highlights the N64 classic, Star Wars: Rogue Squadron, focusing on two missions. In the planet of Corellia, players skim rooftops to save cities from destruction, battling probe droids and bombers. Free Gerard V tasks players with protecting Y-Wings from Imperial forces and gun turrets. The review praises the game's graphics, noting they are significantly improved with the N64 expansion pack, transforming the visuals into a higher experience. It even mentions the impressive details, like land speeders and ATS in Mos Eisley. The review includes a discussion comparing Rogue Squadron to Shadows of the Empire. The game receives a glowing review, earning a 90% and an awesome sticker, with the review calling it the Star Wars game the N64 has been waiting for, praising the graphics and sound. This page, then, is a full-page advert for Match magazine, you know, the footy mag, back from when print was king. It's shouting about being the UK's biggest-selling football magazine. And to be fair, it probably was back then. They're breaking down what you get in it, pitching it as stuff you can't get anywhere else, which is a bit of a boast, isn't it? Le Kazar, they've got 4 sections highlighted here. First up, the best results service. Yeah, back before the internet was everywhere, you needed your magazine for your tables and scores, imagine that. Then there's the best posters showing off Ryan Giggs on the cover, saying he's stripped for action, cheeky. Next, the best competitions, with Jamie Redknapp on that cover, saying Liverpool need to put things right, good luck with that, Jamie. And finally, the best stars, featuring Collymore, Taylor and Gregory, remember them? Ball life at the top, it says, whatever that means. They're promising totally flash football posters, and competitions to win signed David Seaman gloves, and tickets to see Man Uttered, so properly aimed at the young footy fan. And it's only 95p, a proper bargain even back then, and out every Tuesday. Match, it's simply the best. Bit cheesy, but hey, it probably did the job. This Stuff Star Wars spread from the 90s highlights the era's Star Wars merchandise. Featured items include an X-Wing fighter toy, £25, the original trilogy on VHS, £35, and Star Wars Trivial Pursuit, £60. Ewoks get their due with a playset, £10, and a cuddly toy, £8. Other items include Star Wars trading cards, £1, a Darth Vader voice changer, £15, the movie soundtrack CD, £35, a Yoda playset, £30, and various action figures, £4 to £9 each. The selection reflects the widespread popularity of the franchise and the diverse range of products available to fans during the 90s Star Wars craze. B. This Star Wars merchandise spread, reminiscent of the late 90s, heavily promotes products capitalizing on the upcoming Episode 1 hype. Featured are various action figures, like a Stat Battle droid, £19, a Snowtrooper, £20, and classic characters like Boba Fett, various prices. Accompanying the figures are supporting merchandise, such as a Star Wars cross-sections book, £12, promising detailed ship schematics, and a Star Wars scrapbook, £12. There's also a speaking Stormtrooper keyring, £8, a Boba Fett deluxe action figure, £10, and vehicle toys including Slave One and an AT-AT Walker, both £8. This collection offered a solid array of Star Wars collectibles, aiming to appeal to fans with figures, books and novelty items. This is an advertisement for Nintendo Official Magazine. Readers could subscribe directly to the magazine, saving money and receiving free delivery. Offers included 6 issues for £4 or a year's subscription, 12 issues for £8.85. The magazine promised exclusive N64 news, reviews, tips and game guides. Subscribers could also enter a monthly draw to win £150 of Nintendo gear. Subscriptions were available for the UK, Europe, and worldwide, Airmail World. To subscribe, one had to fill out a form with personal details and pay by check, postal order, or credit/debit card. A credit card hotline was provided. The offer ended on February 19, 1999. Subscribers' data could be used for further marketing if the customer ticked a box. Total Test reviews Nintendo games and accessories monthly. Yoshi introduces the section which features highlights like all Nintendo gear, N64 pads, memory packs, etc. Famous 5, favorite game characters, Game Boy, new game preview, Nintendo numbers, contact info, sales chart, and rental chart. A sidebar discusses the upcoming South Park N64 game, page 54. The section uses a scoring system, 0 to 44, rubbish, 45 to 64, not worth playing, 65 to 79, nothing special, 80 to 89, pretty good, and 90 to 100, amazing, awesome. They adjust scores for older games. A quick flick highlights Star Wars Rogue Squadron, page 38. This month's Total Test reviews focus on Nintendo 64 games. All-Star Baseball 98 gets a 90%, praised for its baseball action. Banjo-Kazooie earns a stellar 96%, hailed as a platforming masterpiece. Biofreaks gets a 70%, criticized for gameplay despite its gory content. Bomberman Hero scores 72%, deemed better than its predecessor, but still average. Body Harvest receives 88%, a good but potentially great alien shooter. Buck Bumble gets 84% for its insect blasting action. Blast Core earns 81% for robot smashing puzzles. Buster Move 3 gets 85% for addictive bubble bursting. Chopper Attack scores 79% for helicopter action. Cruisin' World gets 83% for its improved arcade racing. Duke Nukem 64 scores 86% for its action and humor. Diddy Kong Racing achieves a massive 92%, praised for its racing variety. Finally, Doom 64 gets 78%, a solid but not outstanding shooter. Banjo-Kazooie and Diddy Kong Racing stand out as the top games. This page reviews N64 accessories and games. Rumble packs tested include the budget-friendly Joytech Jolt Pack, the original Nintendo Rumble Pack, and the feature-rich Advanced Jolt Pack, Blaze Jolt Pack, Glows in the Dark, and the battery-free G64 Tremor Pack. Game reviews feature Forsaken, 90%, a bounty hunter game. Gasp, 68%, a simple fighter. Gex, 64, 78%, a platformer. F1 World Grand Prix, 87%, a Formula 1 simulator. F-Zero X, 92%, a futuristic racer. And FIFA 98 RTWC, 89%, a soccer game. Extras include an N64 keyring, cleaning kit, SCART cable, and controller extension cable. The page aims to enhance your N64 experience by reviewing accessories and providing more game suggestions. This page reviews N64 racing wheels and games. For racing wheels, options range from budget-friendly to more serious. The Race 64 Compact is recommended for its responsiveness, while the Vivar F1 Accelerator is best avoided due to its shape. The Vortex wheel is interesting, supporting both 2D and 3D games. Game reviews include the must-have shooter, GoldenEye 007 94%, and the arcade-style International Superstar Soccer 64 91%. Other games reviewed are Fighter's Destiny 85%, GT64 Championship 76%, Glover 85%, and Holy Magic Century 84%, an RPG geared toward younger players. GoldenEye and ISS64 are the clear standouts. This text reviews several games from the past. Lilat Wars, Star Fox 64, received a 91% for its immersive space shooter gameplay. Mario Kart 64 earned a 90% for its brilliant racing and multiplayer fun. Oddworld Adventures on Game Boy got 89% for its puzzle platforming. Iggy's Wrecking Balls was rated 83% for its unique racing. Madden Football 64 scored 86%, despite being compared to the better Quarterback Club. MK Trilogy was harshly rated with 51%, called a crap 2D flat fighter. Knife Edge received 75%, while Mission Impossible got 81%. Lastly, Mischief Makers earned a 74%. The text also includes a numbers section with phone contacts for game companies like Nintendo, for game support. This page is a rundown of new games, looks like mostly sports and some beat-em-up action for the N64. Mortal Kombat 4 gets a whopping 90%. Blimey, that's high praise considering the previous MK games on Nintendo weren't always the best conversions. They reckon fatalities are top-notch, and it's all tippity-top stuff, bit much lads. NFL Blitz also scores a 90%, and they're saying it's easy for even your mum to understand. Bit condescending, but yeah, Blitz was good fun, pure arcade stuff. Mystical Ninja gets an 88%, adventure puzzle game, Mario-esque apparently. They liked the 3D. NASCAR 99 gets a drubbing with only 62%. Wake us up when it comes on. Ouch. NFL Quarterback Club 98 gets another 90%, alongside 99 version also at 90%. Someone clearly loves their American football. Nagano Winter Olympics gets 75%. Sounds a bit dull. Preset scores and times. They say it fades fast once you win gold. NBA Courtside scores 89%. Basketball game, better than average sports b-ball. NBA Jam 99 also gets 89%. Seems like basketball games are doing well here. NBA Pro 98 gets 82%, and NBA Live 99 gets 80%. Loads of basketball then. NHL 99 rounds it off with 85% for ice hockey. Slippery stuff, and chill out in the NHL rink. Pretty much covers the page. Sports games are dominating, and Mortal Kombat 4 getting surprisingly high marks. Lots of awesome badges being handed out. Seems like everything's awesome in Nintendo Magazine land. This page is a full-page advert for Penny Racers on the N64. It's got that classic checkered flag design all over it, and looks like a top-down racer, with these cartoonish little cars. Endless variations, and limited only by your imagination is the tagline, suggesting you can build your own tracks maybe. Looks a bit like Micro Machines but with customizable cars. Seems a bit of harmless fun for the younger crowd. Not exactly a system seller, but could be a decent time waster. This review covers N64 accessories and games. Memory pucks are highlighted, with brands like Nintendo, Joytech, and Datal reviewed, emphasizing the importance of storage for game saves. Prices range from £7 to £17. Game reviews include South Park 90%, praised for multiplayer and humor, Super Mario 64 92%, lauded as pure N64 gold, 1080 degrees snowboarding 90%, 1080 degrees snowboarding game, Off-Road Challenge 68%, a basic racer, and Quake 68%, which despite its smart levels failed to impress. The review concludes with a mixed bag of titles, with Mario and South Park standing out. Electronics Boutique's N64 Top 10 chart is here, with a voucher offer. Rogue Squadron takes the top spot with its Star Wars dogfighting. Zelda, Ocarina of Time is a classic at number 2, followed by Turok 2's dinosaur-filled action. 1080 degrees snowboarding, Rally Edition 99, F1 World Grand Prix, Mission Impossible, Banjo-Kazooie, WC/N, WO Revenge, and For Zero X complete the list. Reviews also highlight some other games. Rakuga Kids is a bizarre crayon fighting game. Turok 2 and Rally Edition 99 received high praise, while others like Rush 2 and Starshot got negative reviews. The chart shows a diverse range of genres and opinions. This retro gaming review section covers several N64 titles. WCW/NWO Revenge and WWF Warzone both earn 90%, praised for their over-the-top wrestling action and classic gameplay. World Cup 98 scores a 91%, lauded for its enjoyable soccer mechanics, though some find the amateur mode easy. Tetrisphere gets 83%, noted for its challenging 3D puzzle gameplay, but possibly feeling a bit dull. Top Gear Overdrive receives 85%, considered a decent racing game. Turok earns 87% as a Doom with Dinosaurs experience, although the reviewer suggests Turok 2 is superior. Finally, a section titled Famous 5 Dinosaurs lists seemingly unrelated N64 games: The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, Turok 2, Styracosaurus, Rampage Lizzie, Buster Move Bub, and Yoshi's Story Yoshi. This review compares various N64 controllers, evaluating their strengths and weaknesses. The official Nintendo controller is deemed awesome at £19.99. Other options include the Interact Superpads, OK, Macapad, good for shoot-em-ups, SharkPad Pro 64, Ace 3D Stick, Trident Pad, budget-friendly, Controller Plus 64, racing/beat-em-ups, Trident Pro Pad, Mirage, top-notch 3D Stick, Manta Ray, better than average, Competition Pro, professional, Arcade Shark, beat-em-ups, Trilogy 64 features, and G64 controller, handles well. The review also includes brief game reviews. The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time receives a high score, while Wave Race 64 is original. Twisted Edge Extreme and Waiale Golf are less impressive, and Wayne Gretzky's 3D Hockey 98 is considered strong. This magazine highlights the best N64 games for rental. Total Test features top-tier games. WCW vs. NWO Revenge, 86%, a wrestling game. Wipeout 64, 87%, a futuristic racer. XG2, 82%, another racer, less polished than Wipeout. Yoshi's Story, 88%, a platformer. And Weetrix, 88%, a puzzle game. Best of the Rest lists other worthwhile rentals, including Aerofighter's Assault, Extreme G, and Killer Instinct Gold, with varied scores and brief descriptions. A UK rental chart shows Turok 2 at number 1, followed by Zelda, and WCW/NWO Revenge. Cool rentals suggest trying high-scoring games like Glover, Wipeout 64, and Rakuga Kids before buying. This advertisement promotes instant win competitions, with prizes accessible by calling premium rate numbers. Prizes include N64 consoles and games like Mission Impossible, F1 World Grand Prix, 1080 snowboarding, and Turok 2. Other contests offered generic prizes like personal stereos, PlayStations, and TVS. Alien Attack offered consoles, TVS, and bikes. Super Cop had a typo, but hinted at Bowser-related prizes. Shootout offered a mix of electronics for scoring goals. a CC system in a giant Coke can, and a Pentium 2 computer with Windows 98 round out the offerings. The contests, featuring a random assortment of prizes and costing up to £3 per call, were likely very profitable. This webpage offered official tips for N64 games, emphasizing their reliability. It features a hints, tips and cheats index with page numbers for various games like Banjo-Kazooie, Zelda, Ocarina of Time, and others, covering diverse genres. There's also a tip service and a section for high scores. The featured tips provide specifics. For Banjo-Kazooie, it pinpoints spellbook locations. Zelda includes a free Lon Lon milk trick using Epona's song. Body Harvest offers a cheat code to make Adam Drake tall and skinny, written backward. These tips, often accompanied by screenshots, were crucial before widespread internet access, offering game-saving advice for players. This guide covers N64 games, starting with a basic controller icon overview. WWF Warzone tips reveal how to unlock secret characters like Dude Love, Cactus Jack, and Rattlesnake, along with a strange creator-wrestler female character unlock. Top Gear Overdrive includes a tip about a secret track and cars unlocked through completing seasons. XG2 receives a review, noting its improvement over the original, and offering a speed start tip and a cheat to unlock the Ickle bike. Finally, F0X is highlighted, joking about its speed and ease, but providing an easy code to unlock everything. This page offers a collection of N64 game tips and tricks. For Mace, twirl the D-pad for secret characters. Extreme G unlocks all tracks with the code 81GGD5. DKR grants max power-ups with free-for-all. Turok unlocks everything using NTHGTHDGDCR-TDTRK. In WCW vs NWO, wiggle the 3D stick to escape holds. A bogus bonus claims a Conker 64 demo can be accessed in Banjo-Kazooie after completing the game. 1080-degree snowboarding tips focus on air control and landing. WCW/NWO, Revenge reveals character and special moves unlocking methods. Mortal Kombat 4 has a big head mode and cheat menu access instructions. Idical, GoldenEye 007, unlocks cheats by completing runway quickly, and Mission Impossible has a level select code. WWF Warzone grants cheats after winning a challenge. Finally, the page advertises a tip hotline from the Nintendo official magazine. This page features cheats for N64 games. F1 World Grand Prix supposedly has hidden content accessible via a mirror. Rakuga Kids, a brawler, showcases its specials moves. A large list of N64 titles, including GoldenEye, Mario Kart and Zelda, is provided, likely an index for their cheat hotline. The page promotes the premium rate phone line, promising cheats for over 500 N64 and PlayStation games, with a contest to win a TV or Dreamcast. The hotline served as an alternative for game assistance before widespread internet access, despite its high cost. This page highlights reader tips for various Nintendo 64 games. WWF Warzone features custom wrestler creation guides, including Bond and Xena characters. Mission Impossible offers gun cheat codes. Banjo-Kazooie reveals warp cauldron locations, simplifying level navigation. F1 World Grand Prix unveils a hidden gallery/F0X mode, promising high speeds. Finally, ISS98 provides a free kick scoring technique. The page is a collection of helpful tips for popular N64 titles, with a contest offering a transparent controller for the best submissions. This page offers retro gaming tips for various titles. A hot game help section provides solutions for Banjo-Kazooie, Jinjo Location, and GoldenEye, Deathmatch Character Unlock. Top Gear Overdrive gets a shortcut tip. Legend of Zelda guidance includes bombing a Dodongo's cavern statue and instructions on obtaining Epona. New ways to play suggests GoldenEye multiplayer modes, 007 Predator, pistols only, timed, and duck shoot, facility level. Can you help? Addresses questions on Banjo-Kazooie jigsaw puzzles and Mortal Kombat 4's meat unlock. The page also includes contests, a write-in for Nintendo Gear tips and Wario's winner, with local winners receiving prizes for Wario and duck shoot tips. Your Scores section features reader-submitted high scores and fastest times across various games. This month's challenges include 1080 Snowboarding, Deadly Fall, F0X, Silence, Rally 99 England, and F1 World Grand Prix, Japan. Tips are provided for each. The results in full section highlights top players. Notable achievements include Peter Sampson's Yoshi's Story Score, Steve Pontin's GoldenEye kill count, Stuart Richards' Diddy Kong Racing record, questionably dubbed the world's best, and Simon Taylor's Mario Kart 64 time, which seemingly caused some minor drama. The section ends with a call to action, encouraging readers to submit their scores for future issues. Best of. This page details a mega challenge hosted by a magazine for GoldenEye 007 on the Nintendo 64, offering Nintendo gear and other games as prizes. The competition involves a roadshow across the UK, where players can try games and win prizes. To enter the GoldenEye challenge, participants must achieve 4th place or higher and submit proof of their skills, specifically a screenshot from the jungle level. Successful players could be invited to a deathmatch arena in London. Cheating is strictly forbidden. The submission instructions include a photo and details. A list of current top players is provided. The closing date for submissions is March 31, 1999, with the final featuring random character and location selection. Additional prizes include Nintendo accessories for top scores in other leagues. Wow! This guide page focuses on Turok 2, Seeds of Evil for the N64. It offers tips for players navigating the game, particularly levels 3 and 4, the Death Marshes, and the Lair of the Blind Ones. The guide covers objectives, like rescuing prisoners and defeating bosses, common N64 gameplay elements. A lock and load section details the game's extensive arsenal, with over 20 weapons and a limited energy capacity. It highlights weapons like the Talon, bow, shotgun, and plasma rifle, with information on upgrades and their effects. Another section focuses on enemies, suggesting they're more intelligent than those in GoldenEye. It provides strategies for defeating various enemy types, including entrails, blind ones, deadmen, and troopers, offering weapon-specific advice for each. The guide offers practical tips for players. Gesh. This guide provides a walkthrough for 2 sections of Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, starting with Death Marshes. The Death Marshes segment emphasizes headshots, navigating gem paths, platforming, and avoiding hazards like Mr. Krabby and Purlins. Key steps include platforming across gaps, using a raft, and obtaining the level 5 key. The guide then moves on to the Filth, Dirt and Mud section, detailing 7 more steps. This includes avoiding poisonous worms, freeing prisoners, traversing platforms, using the Warblade and satchel charges, and finding an armory. The final step focuses on detonating a bomb on a large crate and escaping via teleport within a tight time frame. This section of the Turok 2 guide covers 3 key areas. Fat Guys focuses on obtaining the Shredder weapon in a Perlin village, involving platforming challenges, gem path navigation, and ambush avoidance. It instructs players to locate the level 5 key and exploit enemy weak points. Plasma details acquiring the plasma rifle, a powerful weapon. The guide explains how to traverse bridges, avoid Perlin attacks, and engage enemies, including Raptoids and tower snipers, with the new weapon. Finally, Big Fight, again, guides players through encounters with flesh eaters. It emphasizes saving at a save point, navigating bridges, activating portal switches, and engaging in rooftop battles, including the strategic use of nukes on powerful enemies, and the classic save the hostages scenario. This page is just a massive close-up of Turok's ugly mug, the chap from Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. Blimey, those teeth are something else, aren't they? Looks like they were giving away this beast as a free poster in the mag. Those were the days, weren't they? Getting a free poster with your Nintendo mag, bit of sticky tack, and straight up on the bedroom wall. Good times. This guide offers tips for Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. The first section, Breath of Life, details how to obtain the Breath of Life talisman, enabling underwater breathing in poison. Players must navigate a level using classic Turok mechanics, climbing, shooting, and utilizing items like the satchel charge. The second section, Level 4 The Blind Ones, focuses on surviving this challenging level. It guides players through the beginning, highlighting weapon pickups like the plasma rifle and harpoon gun. The tips include navigating tunnels, waterfalls, and defeating spiders and blind ones, emphasizing headshots. Finally, players must defend a totem and locate the talisman portal. These tips would have been very helpful back in the N64 days. This guide offers tips for 2 sections of Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. Tunnel running focuses on navigating maze-like tunnels, avoiding pitfalls, and using teleporters. Players are advised on how to handle cave spiders, use the grenade launcher, charge darts, and fight blind ones. The section covers switch activation, barrel explosions, swimming, ladder climbing, and acquiring a cave key, including a section on dealing with an earthquake and falling rocks. Grenades are recommended for acid-spitting nalas and for crossing bridges. Firewalker details how to obtain the Heart of Fire talisman, allowing players to traverse lava. The guide explains hopping platforms, exploring tunnels, finding an eagle feather, backtracking, using a talisman portal, and jumping into whirlpools. It covers swimming, shooting switches, navigating passages, using satchel charges, and finding a cave key slot. A final tip advises players to bypass blind ones by blowing a vent. The next page continues the tips for Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, broken down into sections with catchy titles, typical of these guides back in the day. First up, we have Feeling Hot, which is all about navigating lava sections to grab another piece of the nuke. It talks about walking across lava with the talisman, fighting the Lord of Flesh, sounds like a mini-boss, doesn't it? And using platforms and flesh portals. It's pretty standard stuff for a lava level. Jump carefully, watch out for fire, that sort of thing. Worry. Then there's going for a swim, which, as you might guess, is all about the underwater bits. Apparently tapping the key buttons makes you swim faster, a handy tip considering the long stretches underwater in this game. It guides you to the torpedo launcher, which is essential for any underwater nasties. There's mention of using cave keys, dealing with nalas, those acid-spitting reptile blighters, and cave spiders, all standard enemies for Turok. It talks about using grenade launchers and charge darts, and flipping switches to open new areas. It ends with a section called Nearly There, focusing on finding the final key and defending a totem against blind ones, which were those annoying cloaked raptors. It's all about killing enemies quickly and making it to the exit portal. Standard Turok fare, really. Blast everything in sight, and you'll be right as rain. The guide continues with tips for Turok 2, focusing on the third vent and Bossman blind sections. The third vent involves navigating a blue area, using the tech bow, climbing, fighting spiders, and reaching a balcony. You'll need to open gates, grab a level key, battle enemies, and ultimately use cave keys to destroy the vent. Bossman Blind is about defeating a boss. The strategy involves moving constantly and using plenty of ammo, killing slugs, and shooting tentacles. You need to destroy acid portals, and then shoot the boss's eye to defeat it. The article ends with a teaser for the next issue, promising more on mantids and warning that the game will become even harder. This page is all about Vrali Edition 99, remember that one? Proper off-road racer for the N64. It's part 2 of a driver's guide apparently, getting us all prepped for Safari and Corsica by the looks of it. The page breaks down how to be a Vrali champ, covering things like stopping skids, handbrake turns, using manual gears, all the good stuff. They've even listed past articles in previous issues, back in issue 72, 75 and 76, if you were following along religiously. There's a section on the best motors, suggesting the Hyundai Coupe, Citroën Xara and Skoda Octavia are the top picks for different courses. Bit of a random selection if you ask me, but each to their own. The Coupe is good on roads with ace acceleration, the Xara for dry tracks and quick gear changes, and the Octavia for cornering, supposedly doesn't spin out easily, which is a bonus. Then they get into racing tips, starting with Ride the Slide for spends, basically telling you to straighten up between corners to avoid spinning out. Helpful, I suppose. And the best way to corner, which is a 4-step guide: brake before the corner, maybe handbrake for tight turns, spin into the bend, and then accelerate out. Standard rally driving fare really, but laid out nice and clear with screenshots. Good for the young'uns just getting into their racing games back then. This section of the Vrali 99 driver training focuses on safe and effective driving. Keep 'em peeled, advises watching for other drivers and hazards, utilizing mirrors, B button, and reacting to potential crashes. Watch the road, emphasizes the importance of adjusting to changing track conditions by correcting drifts with the D-pad and using the C buttons in mud. Advanced driving covers handbrake turns, advising their use only on dry surfaces with quick taps, avoiding wet or snowy conditions. Finally, switch to manual suggests that while automatic gears are suitable for beginners, manual gear shifting, using Z trigger for downshifting and upshifting, offers greater control and performance. This guide offers stage-by-stage advice for Vrali Edition 99 Safari stages, a helpful resource before online video tutorials were available. Safari Stage 1 focuses on the dusty African environment, advising against handbrake use due to wet conditions and emphasizing gear shifting and braking. Stage 2, with limited overtaking, encourages controlled slides using the handbrake V button and highlights potential accident zones. Stage 3, a supposedly easier track, allows for immediate high gear acceleration and warns about flipping in a riverbed section, also advising on sharp turns and braking. The guide utilizes visual aids and basic driving tips, providing a practical approach to navigating the challenging tracks. This guide provides tips for the Corsica stages in Rally Edition 99, focusing on official advice before online guides were common. Stage 1 emphasizes careful driving, especially in villages and fog, with tips on train tracks, tunnel corners, and avoiding rocks. Stage 2 offers more aggressive strategies for speed, including gear shifts and careful cornering. Stage 3 introduces night driving, requiring headlight use, and a heavy reliance on the handbrake for tight bends. The guide concludes with a preview of the upcoming New Zealand stages and hints at the championship glory to be covered next. This page is a right blast from the past, isn't it? Looks like a proper advert spread from one of the mags, probably flogging N64 gear. They've got your standard N64 bundle, with GoldenEye or Mario 64. Can't go wrong with either of those classics. And then there's the International Superstar Soccer 98 bundle, remember that one? It was alright, I suppose, if you were into your footy games. They're pushing all sorts here. Zelda action figures gotta have your Link and Ganon figures, right? FIFA 99 and F-Zero are getting a shout out too, with deals if you buy a controller at the same time. Rally 99 with a Mad Catz wheel, that's getting serious. Rogue Squadron and Turok, 2 deals as well, bundled with Rumble packs. Rumble was all the rage back then, wasn't it? Well, then there's the second-hand game swap, and a whole section for US import N64 games, for those of us wanting something a bit different. Accessories galore too, controllers in every color under the sun, wireless ones even, fancy stuff. Sticker kits to tart up your console, if you were that way inclined. Loads of games listed, new and second-hand, from your usual suspects like Mario Kart 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time, to some of the more obscure titles. Pretty much everything you could want for your N64 back in the day, all in one place. This advertisement showcases a variety of gaming platforms and accessories from the late 90s. It highlights PlayStation and Dreamcast games like Colin McRae Rally and Gran Turismo, priced around £30 to £35. The Game Boy Color receives attention with a Zelda-themed promotion. Game Boy Pocket cameras and printers are also featured. The ad then moves on to Super NES classics, such as Super Mario Kart, priced at around £10. A selection of N64 racing wheels, starting from £20, are also prominent. Additional N64 accessories include Rumble packs, memory cards, and Action Replay Pro. The ad concludes with Game Boy boosters for playing Game Boy games on the N64. Orders are placed via a standard mail-in form, reflecting the pre-internet shopping era. The Club Mario section of this issue features Dave and Sean answering reader mail. Zelda, Ocarina of Time and Turok 2 are clearly popular, with one reader criticizing Zelda's ad campaign and another praising Turok 2's gore and graphics. Frustration is voiced by a reader awaiting Zelda's delayed release. Sean highlights acclaim's improved game quality, mentioning South Park. The section includes a Name That Game puzzle and an N64-focused brain strain quiz. Various N64 games are mentioned, ranging from classics like GoldenEye and Star Fox 64 to less well-received titles. Finally, a reader complains about the expensive N64 expansion pack, reflecting the era's pricing concerns. Club Mario covered the Big Bash Birmingham event, focusing on kids' reactions to Zelda. Ocarina of Time, situated near Zoe Ball's Live and Kicking, children raved about the game, praising its brilliance, longevity, and the transformation of Link. They also mentioned an upcoming 3D racer, Simpsons in Borden, USA, featuring chaotic gameplay and splat attacks. The article also announced a touring Nintendo Challenger bus in 1999 and a congratulatory note for a winning game idea. The overall coverage was typical of Club Mario, highlighting the excitement surrounding Zelda and previewing other, less prominent, games. This page focuses on reader contributions. The reader chart is topped by The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, followed by F-Zero X, Banjo-Kazooie, International Superstar Soccer 98, and 1080 Degrees Snowboarding. Your Art showcases reader artwork, including Zelda and South Park themed pieces. Snappy Moment features Game Boy camera photos, including a questionable picture of a brother. Reader letters include queries about the N64, complaints about review scores, and requests for more Game Boy Color coverage, often met with sarcastic responses. U-Review features a review of The Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time by Len Hulley, who gives it a perfect score, praising its story, world, and graphics. Readers overwhelmingly praised Turok 2 after about 25 hours of gameplay, with scores around 90%. Kyle Dixon called it excellent and better than GoldenEye. Raif Ali Rifat loved the atmosphere and sniper rifle zoom, praising the multiplayer. Onda Hassan highlighted the weapons, specifically the gruesome cerebral bore. Omar Al-Kayat, Jamie Rossi, Raphael Amporful, Digby Murray, Brian Matthews, and Jeffrey Reed all enjoyed aspects like the huge levels, well-set multiplayer, and challenging single-player experience. While some found it difficult, the consensus was positive. The issue also mentions a strange Ultimate Warrior character and teases future reader feedback. This Nintendo magazine feature profiles Dean Dominique and his 90s gaming setup. A Star Wars enthusiast, Dean's room is decorated with Star Wars toys and posters acquired from game shops and Nintendo official magazine. Nom. He scored a free copy of Zelda after writing letters, validating his anticipation after reading a glowing review. His N64, purchased on day one, is accompanied by games like Shadows of the Empire and Mario, but GoldenEye reigns supreme, particularly for its multiplayer. He also enjoys Action Man figures as decorative pieces and favors Disney films like Hercules and Aristocats. Dean won a prize package, including Zelda, Turok 2, an expansion pack, and a controller. The magazine encourages reader submissions to showcase their own setups. The article concludes with a note on Dean's support for Man UTD. This article covers a gaming magazine's content. A contest offered 12 people early access to the N64 South Park game in London, including a free copy for winners. Mario's Hit List solicited reader opinions on the N64 expansion pack, Zelda's supremacy, and multiplayer preferences. Turok 2 vs GoldenEye. Reader letters discussed a new Game Boy Color, Zelda's delays, praise for Banjo-Kazooie, and criticism of Nintendo's game censorship. The article concludes with the standard staff listing, recognizing the individuals involved in creating the magazine. This magazine page details several Nintendo 64 competitions. The Wrestling Riot contest offers WCW/NWO Revenge and a t-shirt to 3 winners, with entrants answering a trivia question. The Dino Blaster competition gives away Turok 2, Seeds of Evil, a baseball cap, and an action figure, also requiring a correct answer to enter. Both contests require postal entries. Additionally, there's a Win Zelda writing competition. Entrants must submit their best Nintendo gaming idea, with the grand prize including 5 copies of Zelda, Ocarina of Time, a trip to London, £500, and a hotel stay. All entrants receive a special prize. The competitions appear to be part of a blagfest, with the magazine clearing out stock through these giveaways. This page is the entry form for that Win Zelda competition they were banging on about. Right then, so if you think you're a game design guru, you can scribble down your amazing idea in the space provided, probably in crayon going by the looks of it. They want your name, date of birth, bit cheeky isn't it, address, phone number, and even your parent or guardian's signature, because clearly, this is aimed at the young'uns. Down the side, there's a list of Royal Mail rules for the competition. It's for UK residents only, which is fair enough, excluding those Channel Islanders and Isle of Man lot, always getting left out. You had to be 16 or under on the 1st of September 1998, so this is definitely from back in the day. Closing date was April 2nd, 1999. Entries become Royal Mail's property, so no nicking your genius ideas back. The judge's decision is final, no arguments, and if you're desperate to know who won, you had to send them a stamped addressed envelope to get a list of prize winners in November. Bit of a faff, but then, what isn't? And if you're really stuck, there's a helpline number to call, bless them. All very official, for sending in your daft game idea. Oh, and you could tick a box if you wanted even more junk mail from Royal Mail. Who'd want that? This page then is the actual entry form for that game ideas competition. Looks like they really wanted kids to send in their scribbles. It's all laid out like a letter template, telling you where to fold it and stick it down, proper Blue Peter style. They've even got a space for your stamp, fancy that. The address is all there too, Nintendo Official Magazine and Royal Mail, for the Young Letter Writers Great Ideas Competition. Bit of a mouthful, isn't it? They've made it pretty foolproof, even for the youngest gamers to send in their prize-winning concepts. Just gotta hope their great idea isn't pinched, mind you, with all that small print from the rules. This page is the cover of Computer and Video Games magazine, issue 207, and it's shouting about being the world's first and still the best. Right at the top, it's got Legend of Zelda mentioned. It was always a big deal back then, especially with Ocarina of Time just around the corner, or maybe just out at this point. Can't quite place the exact timing from this cover alone. The main image is this snarling monster thing, massive and taking up most of the page. It's for Soul Reaver, which they're billing as a PlayStation scoop and guaranteeing it'll fry your eyeballs. Bit dramatic, weren't they? Just below the main logo for Computer and Video Games, it lists Legend of Zelda Strategy Guide and Tips, and Tomb Raider 3 Expert Player's Guide, so plenty for everyone in this issue. They've also got little screenshots of games scattered around, like Zelda with Link holding his shield, Virtua Fighter 3 TB, that was cutting-edge graphics for arcades making their way to consoles, Tomb Raider 3 again, with Lara in a jungle setting, and Ridge Racer 4, showing off some pretty snazzy racing. It's priced at £1.50, which seems about right for a gaming mag back then, and it says great value in a red burst, always trying to tempt you, weren't they? Classic magazine cover stuff, big promises, and lots of game hype to get you to part with your pocket money. Super Smash Bros. For the N64 is being heavily promoted by Nintendo as a 3D beat-em-up featuring Nintendo heroes, awesome graphics and stunning special moves. Developed by HAL Laboratory, Kirby, the game promises easy-to-learn but challenging gameplay. The game features 8 initial characters, including Mario, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, Fox McCloud, Kirby, and Samus Aran. 4 secret characters are unlockable. Screenshots show colorful battles with various characters. Players can select their fighter and view battle stats, with cutscenes showcasing each character's moves. The game is due out mid-1999, and is being developed by Nintendo. This page is all about Mario, can't miss him, he's plastered right in the middle of it all. Up in the corner there's a news flash, with a headline about Mario returning to Nintendo, calling him their porky plumbing pal, a bit cheeky that is. Then there's a section called Movie Magic going on, about Super Smash Bros. And its intro movie. Apparently when you slam the cart in you get this awesome movie where all the Nintendo heroes are flexing and posing, getting ready for a scrap. They're making it sound epic, aren't they? It says the first fighters you see are Kirby and Mario, facing off in a rain-soaked field. Parrot. There are these numbered boxes too, like they're pointing things out. Box number 1 zooms in on Mario in a screenshot, calling him Nintendo's biggest star, which, let's be honest, is bang on. Number 2 is Kirby, pink and round as ever, saying it's his first N64 game. Bit late to the party, wasn't he? And then box 3 shows Kirby and Mario actually fighting on some sort of stage with all these blurry lines behind them. Must be the rain-soaked field they were banging on about. So yeah, Page is pushing Super Smash Bros. And rightly so. Proper rumble, that was looking to be. 3D beat 'em up with all the Nintendo lot. Big deal back then. Easy to pick up and play apparently, but they always say that, don't they? We'll see about the challenging bit. The next page continues the Smash Bros. Hype, going into the nitty-gritty of the rules of combat. Apparently it's all about knocking your opponent off their feet, and the game keeps count. Makes sense. They're banging on about different modes too. One-on-one is exactly what it sounds like, just 2 blokes having a punch-up. Then there's Battle Royal, which lets 4 players jump in and scrap at the same time, proper N64 party game stuff, that. And of course, power-ups get a mention under Power-Packed Punching. Bomb-Ums and Fire Flowers to spice things up and send your mates flying. Plenty of screenshots scattered around showing different bits of gameplay. Seems like they are really pushing the party vibe and the chaos of 4-player mode. This news page previews upcoming 64 games, with Super Smash Bros. As the centerpiece. The article highlights the game's unique special moves, showcasing characters like Yoshi, Kirby, and others in action. A fast news section reveals information about GT Rally, a new racing game, and the UK release of Flying Dragon. Delays for Winback, and Nintendo's high expectations for a Koei game, with camera tweaks aiming to beat GoldenEye, are also covered. Additional game announcements include a Neon Genesis Evangelion fighting game, and a Tetris 64 variant, with a heartbeat sensing gimmick. The article ends with a call to action for reader feedback on Super Smash Bros., which the authors are already calling awesome. This page previews 2 N64 games with a beastly theme. Rampage Universal Tour, a 2D eat-em-up from Midway, is slated for early 1999. It features classic monsters like Ralph, Lizzie, and George, plus new ones like Ruby the Lobster and Curtis the Rat, destroying over 125 cities worldwide in a 3-player mode. The game promises Mortal Kombat-style moves. The review, however, is lukewarm, acknowledging the original's flaws but hoping for improvement. Donkey Kong World, a 3D adventure from Rare, is also previewed, with a 1999 release date. The game sees DK and Diddy fighting the Kremlings again. The preview highlights a minecart level, promising a standard Donkey Kong experience. This magazine preview highlights upcoming N64 games. Carmageddon 64, a controversial, violent racing game known for its kill stuff gameplay, is surprisingly coming to the N64, promising 25 cars and various modes. Mario Golf is also announced, aiming for realistic ball physics and Mario-themed courses. NBA Showtime, a basketball game from the NFL Blitz developers, is coming to the N64 later. An X-Men 3D beat-em-up is planned too. Nintendo is hinting at an N64 modem for online gaming and web browsing. Lastly, The Smurfs Nightmare, a platformer, is coming to the Game Boy Color. The main focus, however, is on Carmageddon 64's edgy approach to the N64 library. This article previews a new Castlevania game, emphasizing its increased scariness. The game features updated graphics and atmospheric enhancements, including dynamic lightning effects in forest levels that players must avoid. New monsters abound, like werewolves that will grab players and smash them around, and hideous mutants. The article highlights specific gameplay elements, such as pulling levers to unlock new areas and smashing coffins for items, classic Castlevania features. A fearsome boss skeleton is also mentioned. Overall, the preview suggests the game aims to heighten the horror and difficulty of the classic Castlevania formula. This page covers two games. First up is Castlevania. They've called it Big Bony Brute, which is a bit daft, focusing on a boss skeleton. It seems like they're still banging on about how scary it is, going on from last month's preview. Apparently this massive skeleton appears when you open the castle gates, and then starts summoning loads of smaller skeletons to fight you. They are definitely hyping it up, saying it will be another must-have game for the N64. Then over on the right we've got Quake 2. They've gone with Space Age levels wicked monsters. They reckon if you're just finishing Turok 2 and want more shooting, then Quake 2 is coming to the rescue. This one sounds like it's moved away from the gothic dungeons of the first game, and is now more sci-fi with industrial levels and spaceships. The monsters have changed too. Zombies and ogres are out, and robots and cyborgs are in. Looks like plenty of laser fire and alien blasting action. They're just hoping it's as good as the first Quake. Which is a fair point, to be honest. Both of these games are looking like decent additions to the N64, if you're into that sort of thing. Hybrid Heaven, a Konami RPG/adventure game, is set for a summer 1999 release. The game features a movie-like plot involving superhuman hybrids, a kidnapped president, and a plot of old nonsense. Players take on the role of Diaz, a good hybrid who must escape his captors after killing the presidential clone. The game boasts a unique fight interface, security robots, and movie-time cutscenes with animations that advance the plot. The reviewers suggest it looks promising with an amazing plot, though they hedge their bets, acknowledging it might be a bit dated now. They believe it may be a hidden gem, a departure from the monster-focused games of the time. A preview highlights Konami's NHL Blades of Steel 99 for the N64, promising a fast-paced, solid hockey simulation with official players and expected game modes. The developers also worked on ISS 98 and NBA Pro, suggesting quality. The review is optimistic. The page also advertises a call and win competition, with various games and accessories as prizes. Up for grabs are titles like Zelda 64, Metal Gear Solid, and Banjo-Kazooie, along with a PlayStation driving seat, a Nintendo 64 and more. The competition offers a wide array of prizes for those willing to pay premium rates. This page is diving into Mario Party for the N64. Developed by Nintendo and Hudson, it's a board game, and they reckon it'll be out early in 1999. So, a bit before Christmas then, perfect timing. Apparently the whole thing is about Mario and his mates arguing over who's the biggest star, so they decide to sort it out with a board game. Typical Nintendo logic, eh? Me. They're saying there are 8 game boards in total, all themed around Nintendo characters, naturally. They've given us a sneak peek at a few. Mario's Rainbow Castle, Luigi's Engine Room, and Donkey Kong's Jungle Adventure. Judging by the screenshots, it looks like classic Mario characters, battling it out in minigames, and on these board game maps. They're highlighting Nintendo heroes, manic sub-games, and vicious villains as the main draws. Sounds like a decent bit of multiplayer fun for a laugh with your mates. Not exactly gonna change the world, but it's Mario Party, so it'll probably do alright. This page is continuing on about Mario Party, going into more detail on how it actually plays. They're saying if you've played Monopoly or Snakes and Ladders you'll get the idea, but the gimmick here is minigames on every square, which is a bit different, isn't it? Apparently, each square has frantic action and dazzling graphics. Bit much maybe. It's the N64, showing us how a game goes. You move around this board, looks a bit like a garden maze in the screenshot. Each turn you roll a dice and move, standard stuff. Koopa events happen on some squares, seems to be Bowser, causing trouble, surprise surprise. Win these minigames to get coins and stars, and that's how you win. Apparently, there are 50 minigames, blimey. They're showing different ways to play as well, single player, 1-on-1, 1 versus 3, and free-for-all, so loads of ways to argue with your mates. They've even given names to some of the boards. Wario's Battle Cannon, Peach's Birthday Cake, and Yoshi's Tropical Island. Sound themed at least, wonder if they are any good. Seems like a decent party game, could be a bit of fun if you've got a few mates round. This page previews Mario Party, highlighting its awesome subgames. These minigames, like Mario Bowling, Boo Race, Dry Skiing, and Ball Battle, allow players to compete and potentially affect the main board game. The preview describes them as bonkers, but potentially fun with friends. The article also discusses Pokémon Pocket Guide 2. It introduces Squirtle, Blastoise, Snorlax, Meowth, and the use of Pokeballs. This information is presented as basic knowledge for those following Pokémon. Finally, the page includes a call to action, inviting readers to share their thoughts on Mario Party. The author anticipates receiving a Japanese copy and giving their opinion later, expressing preliminary excitement. This gaming magazine showcases a glimpse into 90s game advertising. Game Freaks promotes itself as a Bristol video game specialist, offering trade-ins for N64 games, discounts on new and used games, and deals on PlayStation and Saturn products. A Nintendo magazine advert highlights its status as the UK's best-selling Nintendo publication, featuring Banjo-Kazooie. WK Entertainment Direct claims to be a large PlayStation center, selling games for various consoles. They advertise pre-orders, competitive prices, weekly special offers, and a price match guarantee, along with finance options and fast delivery. They also list several N64 games at £39.99 each. Nightmare Creatures on the N64, published by Activision, is a 3D fighting adventure set in Victorian London, plagued by monsters unleashed by the Brotherhood of Hecate. Players choose between Father Ignatius and Nadia to battle werewolves, dockers, and other horrifying creatures across locations like Chelsea, Spitalfields, and the Thames Tunnel. The game promises plenty of blood and gore, with Father Ignatius using a stick and Nadia employing karate. Players can expect to encounter three-headed beasts and utilize dynamite. However, the preview's We Think box criticizes the game's controls and camera, suggesting a potentially frustrating experience despite its promising premise. This magazine page delivers rapid-fire game news. Rayman 2, The Great Escape is coming to N64, a 3D platformer with a wacky hero saving friends from an intergalactic zoo, with a May 1999 release. The page also highlights Zelda, Ocarina of Time's massive success in the US, breaking N64 sales records. War, Final Assault, a GoldenEye-style multiplayer shooter, is announced for the N64. Resident Evil is surprisingly heading to the Game Boy Color as a top-down adventure, alongside Street Fighter X Alpha. Finally, a magical Tetris featuring Disney characters launches in Japan, promising story modes with beloved characters. Upcoming games include Ubisoft's All-Star Tennis 99, a 3D tennis simulator featuring star players like Michael Cheng and Jana Novotná, with cool animations and multiplayer options. It includes realistic tennis gameplay, plus the unique explosive bomb tennis mode. Also previewed is Dragon Sword, a fantasy adventure set in Avantaria. This 3D beat-em-up features heroes Tia and Kailan, battling dragons and demons with sophisticated fighting moves and various weapons. Players can explore villages for items and engage in dragon-filled combat. Wrath. Nintendo news from late 1999 includes the upcoming Japanese release of Pikachu Genki Dechu, a Tamagotchi-like virtual pet game for the N64 that uses a microphone. Pokémon remains popular, especially the trading cards. Zelda, Ocarina of Time boosted N64 sales, even outselling the PlayStation in Japan. The Game Boy Color continues to be a global bestseller. NBA in the Zone 99 is the latest basketball game from Konami. Rainbow Six, a GoldenEye-style first-person shooter, is expected for Christmas. Finally, Nintendo's president, Hiroshi Yamauchi, plans to retire in 2001 after overseeing the release of the 64DD in Japan. In January 1999, the Game Boy Color will see the release of Bugs and Lola Bunny, Operation Carrot Patch, an action-adventure game by Infogrames featuring Bugs and Lola chasing down villains across 800 levels to retrieve stolen carrots. Activision is developing a 3D Spider-Man adventure for the N64, planned for summer 1999. Zelda, Ocarina of Time is a sales success, even outselling Metal Gear Solid in Japan. Gauntlet Legends will utilize the expansion pack for enhanced graphics and more on-screen enemies. Unfortunately, a Super Mario 64 sequel is delayed due to Zelda's development. Finally, Fox Sports College Hoops 99 for the N64, a US-only basketball game featuring NCAA teams, is also mentioned, with the news hinting it's not worth importing. Gameplay, a leading UK mail-order game supplier, offered a wide selection of N64 and Game Boy products. They advertised powerful console prices and lowest prices with fast delivery. N64 bundles included popular titles like Mario 64, Zelda, and GoldenEye. The Game Boy Pocket and Color were also featured, along with accessories like the Game Boy camera and printer. The N64 game selection was extensive, including classics like Diddy Kong Racing, GoldenEye 007, and Mario Kart 64. They also offered pre-owned second games, with a 90-day guarantee and strategy guides, mint books. Accessories such as memory cards, rumble packs, and steering wheels were available. They also offered RAM upgrades for the N64. Orders were placed via a mail order form, with payment options including check, postal order, or credit card. This Nintendo magazine promo boasts its upcoming issue as the biggest and best, promising exclusive coverage of every N64 game, abundant screenshots, easy-to-understand writing, and all the tips and cheats you'll ever need. The main image shows Mario, Peach, and Donkey Kong playing beach volleyball. They highlight Michael Owen's World League Soccer 99, promising gameplay guides. The Hot News section features Monaco Grand Prix and Gauntlet Legends, with early glimpses of 3D action. A review of Duke Nukem 0 Hour calls it a top new blaster. The next issue will offer game guides and cheats. It's a typical late 90s Nintendo magazine, full of hype and promises. This page, it's the front cover of the magazine, promising the biggest and best issue, as they always did back in the day. It's headlining Mario's return with 3 new N64 games, which, let's be honest, for an N64 gamer back then, was pretty much everything. They're shouting about Mario Party, Smash Brothers, and Mario Golf. The cover art shows Wario, Luigi, and Yoshi on a beach, really pushing that party vibe, and focusing on Mario Party. As the main draw, you can see Yoshi's shell there like he's ready to throw it about in some minigame. Inside, they're promising to discover the usual, covering gameplay, what you actually do, all the characters and every level. Standard fare for a preview issue. The tips section has screenshots from Zelda, Vrally, and Turok 2. They've gone for snappy descriptions, all the Zelda tough stuff sorted, likely meaning tips for tackling the tougher dungeons and puzzles in Ocarina of Time. Then, take the flag and thrash V-Rally for racing game pointers, and kick alien butt and finish Turok 2 for giving you the edge in that alien blasting action. And to tempt you even more, ace-free posters for every reader, and special offers Club Mario are chucked in. It's got go buy it the 20th of February, slapped on it for release day. So there you have it, a classic N64 magazine front cover, all about showcasing the must-have Nintendo games. This article celebrates Toad, hero number 9, highlighting his history in the Mario universe. It recounts his introduction as a resident of the Mushroom Kingdom saved by Mario, alongside Princess Peach, in Super Mario Bros. The article then discusses his appearances, from being a speed demon in Super Mario Kart to his supporting role in Wario's Woods. Greatest hits include Mario Kart 64, Super Mario 64, and Super Mario Bros. 2. It mentions his clue-giving role in Super Mario 64. The piece speculates about Toad's future, lamenting the lack of a new game for him and teasing the possibility of his inclusion as a secret fighter in Super Smash Bros., a clever way to create reader anticipation for the next issue. This page is a big advert spread from Special Reserve, clearly aimed at getting your pocket money. They're pushing their join the club thing hard, promising mags and cheats for a yearly fee. Not a bad shout if you were a serious gamer back then. They're pushing N64 bundles like Mad GoldenEye or Mario 64 for 90 quid after a tenner off. Remember those fire bundles? Always sounded a bit dramatic. Controllers and accessories galore. Steering wheels like the Mad Catz one. Everyone wanted one of those for Mario Kart sessions, didn't they? Rumble packs too, really feeling those vibrations. Game Boy Color is still hanging on, purple and clear versions, very trendy. Game Boy camera as well, proper digital camera for your handheld, mind blown at the time. They've got PlayStation games listed, Crash Bandicoot, FIFA, Grand Theft Auto, all the big hitters, but N64 is definitely the star of the show. More so has been, they're even trying to flog PCS. This Max 350 sounds like a beast for the time, spec-wise. And freebies, if you join the club, memory cards, rumble packs, they really were throwing stuff at you to sign up. Loads of shop locations too, they were everywhere back in the day. Essentially, if you wanted N64 stuff, Special Reserve was likely on your radar. The next page is a full-on advert for the South Park game. Kenny's smack bang in the middle, can't understand a word as usual. MMPPFF mupf MUMF FH month. Everyone knew what Kenny said, even if it was just muffled noises. They're announcing the South Park game is coming soon. It was quite anticipated back then, to see what they'd do with a game. It's for the Nintendo 64, PlayStation, and PC CD. So, catering to everyone really. Acclaim were the publishers, I remember them. Comedy Central logo is there of course, and naturally, the explicit content warning. And there's the website, www.acclaim.net. Simple times. This page is the cover for a free tips book, number 9 in the series, from the official Nintendo magazine. It's all about Ocarina of Time, naturally. Big gold lettering for Zelda and Ocarina of Time right in the middle, can't miss it. It's a PAL version, so for us lot in Europe, they've gone with the iconic Master Sword and Hylian Shield, which is pretty standard Zelda stuff, but it works. Up top left it shouts free tips book and Nintendo official magazine, just in case you weren't sure where it came from. Over on the right, there's a tag that says Nintendo official magazine again, and underneath, in big letters, awesome. Bit strong maybe, but Ocarina of Time was awesome, to be fair. Bottom right, it says finished, with the objectives. Defeat Ganondorf, rescue Zelda, save Hyrule. Pretty much the whole game summed up in a few lines. It's a bold claim to say finished on the cover, like they're promising to get you through it all. Good luck with that. Back then we needed all the help we could get with that water temple. This page is page number 2 of the Ocarina of Time Tips Guide, calling itself Incredible Voyage, Part 2 of 2. Right then, sounds like they're really going for it. It's promising to be the essential Zelda guide, telling you to complete all the dungeons, rescue every sage, beat all bosses, and defeat Ganondorf. Pretty much the whole game then, is that all? They reckon if you keep this in your cart box, you'll need it. Cheeky. Under what's inside, it's got tick boxes next to save Hyrule, all items, and beat Ganondorf. So yeah, everything important then. They've even got a quote saying, the best graphics ever seen, it's magical, and slapped a score 97% on it. Bit keen, but I suppose back then, for the N64, it did look pretty decent. At the bottom it's got the Nintendo official magazine logo again, just setting the scene really, telling you what to expect from the guide itself, all the main bits of Ocarina of Time covered. This Ocarina of Time guide offers basic strategies. First, revisit every room in a dungeon if lost. Second, switch weapons based on enemy type. Third, use warp magic to return quickly if dying near a boss. Fourth, listen for gold sculptular sounds at night. Fifth, restore health by warping to the Temple of Time, going to Lon Lon Ranch, and playing Epona's song for free milk. A quick tip advises taking a break and relaxing when stuck, as clues are always present. The guide, part of a Nintendo official magazine, features Link with the Master Sword, targeting players who may have needed help. The Young Link mask trading side quest in Ocarina of Time begins at the Happy Mask Shop in Hyrule Market and is essential for obtaining the Mask of Truth. The sequence involves trading several masks. First, get the Keaton mask and sell it to the guard at the Death Mountain entrance, after getting an egg from Lon Lon Ranch and showing a signed letter. Next, sell the Skull mask to the Skull Kid in the Lost Woods, and then sell the Spooky mask to a kid in Kakariko Graveyard. Finally, obtain and wear the Bunny mask in Hyrule Field, and speak to the jogger near Lon Lon Ranch. He'll give you money, which lets you borrow the Mask of Truth. Wearing the Mask of Truth allows you to talk to Gossip Stones. A quick tip, use the Mask of Truth to cheat at the treasure chest game for easy rupees. To obtain the Lens of Truth in Ocarina of Time, you must navigate the bottom of the well. Starting in Kakariko Village, the guide directs you to drain the well by playing the Song of Storms. Wearing the Mask of Truth, you'll pass through walls and avoid invisible pitfalls. The journey involves crawling through holes, traversing rooms, and facing the boss of the well, the Dead Hand. Utilize the Mask of Truth to unveil hidden paths and complete the puzzles. The boss battle requires sword attacks to defeat the Dead Hand. Upon victory, the Lens of Truth appears in a chest. The guide also mentions searching for gold sculptures or using the Prelude of Light to warp out. A quick tip suggests regaining energy if grabbed by a tentacle. This guide covers the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time, located in Death Mountain Crater. The Goron people are in danger from Volvagia, a fire-breathing dragon. To enter, Link needs the Goron tunic, obtained by bombing a boulder in Goron City. He must also learn the Bolero of Fire by pulling a statue in Darunia's room and hookshotting across a bridge. Inside the temple, the guide advises players to find King Darunia and free imprisoned Gorons by solving puzzles in lava-filled rooms. These include bombing brick doors, navigating fire pillars, and moving blocks. Screenshots illustrate the temple's layout. A quick tip warns against purchasing a sword from a Goron, as it breaks. The guide is designed to help players navigate the fiery dungeon. This guide section for the Ocarina of Time Fire Temple focuses on acquiring key dungeon items. The dungeon map requires extinguishing flames with bombs, then navigating a door. The maze room with rolling boulders houses a Goron and a key. Releasing more Gorons and strategically bombing platforms unlocks another key for a better climbing route. The compass is found by activating a switch in the boulder room, releasing another Goron, and jumping a seemingly impossible gap in a fiery room. A quick tip advises caution when entering dangerous rooms to avoid traps. The page also briefly mentions the benefits of the Rumble Pack, adding immersion to the fiery environment. This section of the Fire Temple in Ocarina of Time focuses on acquiring the Megaton Hammer and progressing toward the boss. The journey begins with the Dancing Fire Spirit encounter, involving a firewall puzzle and a mini-boss requiring bombs and the Master Sword's fire attack. Next, the guide details obtaining the Megaton Hammer. This involves navigating a series of rooms, utilizing bombs on switches and fire to unlock the powerful hammer. Finally, the passage to the boss requires the Megaton Hammer to smash face blocks and solve puzzles involving switches and platforms. The guide offers warnings about falling and suggests using bombs as a backup if magic runs out during the Dancing Fire Spirit fight. The guide continues in the Fire Temple. Players must solve block puzzles using the Song of Time and the hammer to free Gorons and obtain keys. They will then face another Dancing Fire Spirit using bombs and the Master Sword. Next up is the Dragon Volvagia. The guide advises hitting him with the Megaton Hammer when he pops out of holes, and then dodging fire and falling rocks. Defeating Volvagia awards the Fire Medallion. Players must also retrieve the boss key, which involves battling Shield Eaters. This is done by defeating another Fire Spirit and hitting a switch. Afterwards, they proceed to the boss room. A quick tip suggests using the hammer on red boulders in Death Mountain Crater to find a great fairy who doubles magic power. The Ice Cavern Guide for Ocarina of Time prepares players for the Water Temple. It highlights the need for blue fire, obtained within the cavern, to melt red ice. To enter, head to Zora's Fountain with empty bottles. Inside, navigate rooms with revolving platforms and ice statues, requiring the blue fire to melt through ice barriers. Collecting all rupees unlocks a blue flame room where you can fill your bottles. Use the flame to melt ice for the dungeon map and compass. The guide also details the puzzle to obtain the Iron Boots, a block-pushing sequence. After defeating an Ice Wolf, acquire the boots. Use the boots in the water to exit. Finally, deliver the blue fire to King Zora to melt the ice and receive the Zora tunic. Bonus: bombing a rock near the cavern entrance reveals a great fairy, providing a useful warp. To obtain the Bigoron sword in Ocarina of Time, begin with the Adult Link trading sequence. You'll need Epona to navigate Hyrule Field. Start by acquiring a Kuko from Kakariko Village and using it to wake Talon. Trade the Kuko for a blue one. Then take it to the Lost Woods to wake a sleeping man for an odd mushroom. Next, trade the mushroom for an odd potion at the potion shop, and then trade the potion for a poacher's saw. Give the saw to the carpenter near Gerudo Valley for a broken Bigoron sword. Deliver the broken sword to Bigoron on Death Mountain, who will give you a prescription to take to King Zora. In return, you'll get an eyeball frog. Give the frog to the professor near Lake Hylia for a claim check. After a 3-day wait, return to Bigoron to receive the powerful Bigoron sword. This page dives straight into the water temple from Ocarina of Time, and blimey, does it bring back memories of head-scratching puzzles. They weren't wrong calling it a confusing maze of surface and underwater passages, and those water-level switches could really mess with your head, couldn't they? The page neatly breaks down sections like Meet Ruto, Get Dungeon Map, and Whirlpools, giving you a step-by-step guide. For meeting Ruto, it mentions using the Serenade of Water to warp to Lake Hylia, and then using the hookshot and iron boots to get to her. Pretty standard stuff to get the story moving. Getting the dungeon map involves playing Zelda's Lullaby at a Triforce symbol, classic Zelda tune usage, and using Din's fire or arrows to light torches, which seems a bit obvious even back then, doesn't it? Then there's the Whirlpool section, and they rightly point out needing iron boots and hookshotting a switch in a statue's mouth. The quick tip about not pressing B to swim faster in whirlpools to avoid oversteering is actually a decent bit of advice, could save you some grief back in the day. All in all, it's a handy guide for tackling what was, and probably still is for many, one of the trickier dungeons in Ocarina of Time. This walkthrough focuses on navigating the Ocarina of Time's water temple. First, obtain the compass by using the hookshot, battling enemies, and triggering a shock switch. Next, tackle the water jets by bombing a crack to find a key. Use water-level manipulation, via Zelda's Lullaby and shock switches, to access a locked door. Finally, complete the water puzzle, involving platforming, hookshot action, and multiple water-level adjustments to reach the exit. This involves a series of hookshot maneuvers and water-level manipulations. A quick tip is also provided regarding clams. Use the hookshot when they're open. Use the hookshot on the metal spikes when they're rocks to kill them. And also, this section of the Water Temple Guide covers Dark Link and obtaining the Longshot. Dark Link appears in a shallow lake. Defeat him using Din's Fire, the Megaton Hammer on dry land, or the Bigoron Sword. Afterward, a door unlocks leading to the Longshot. To access the chest containing the Longshot, play the Song of Time. Using the Longshot involves navigating a series of platforms, eye switches, and grates to find keys. Use the Longshot to cross gaps and access chests. The guide recommends using Faore's Wind before entering this area for easy backtracking. Orchestra. The guide continues with the Water Temple, starting with bombable walls and a block puzzle, a common element of the temple. Players will use iron boots to sink in water. The next objective is obtaining the boss key, which involves more block puzzles and manipulating water levels to reach switches. This section sounds challenging, involving constant up and down movements. The key is earned after a trek through puzzles and doors. The final stage is the boss fight against Morpher. The strategy involves using the Longshot on the dragon head statue, avoiding tentacles, and targeting the boss's red brain with the Longshot at a specific slow-moving moment. Success leads to victory, and the blue light. The quick tip emphasizes staying out of reach of the tentacles and waiting for the opportune time to strike the brain. Following the Water Temple, the Shadow Temple awaits, with a shadowy beast escaped from Kakariko Village as well. Impa needs help in this classic Zelda dungeon. First, acquire fire arrows by shooting an arrow at dawn and using the Nocturne of Shadow. Then, navigate the dungeon to find the dungeon map, utilizing the Lens of Truth to reveal hidden passages. Next, obtain the hover boots. This involves a spooky fight, then returning to a statue room, using the Lens of Truth, and carefully navigating floating platforms to reach the compass. A quick tip advises frequent Lens of Truth use and packing magic potions, as magic will be crucial. This guide offers tips for navigating the Shadow Temple in Zelda, Ocarina of Time. It covers sections with swinging scythes, advising players to avoid them, collect items, and use laser doors. There's also a skeleton battle, requiring the hover boots and timing on a moving platform. Next, it outlines a spiked platform puzzle, requiring hover boots and enemy elimination. A block puzzle with falling spikes utilizes the Lens of Truth to reveal hidden paths. The final section focuses on invisible longshot targets, also relying heavily on the Lens of Truth to spot targets and navigate spike traps. A final tip suggests a precise jump from a platform. The guide also mentions a magazine advertisement for a discount on the game. This guide continues the Shadow Temple walkthrough. The first section covers killer fans, involving stairs, bombs, keys, longshot targets, and navigating fan-filled pits with iron and hover boots. Next is hidden chests, where the Lens of Truth reveals alcoves and hidden chests behind fans, requiring hover boots for access. Then, there's a block puzzle involving green bricks. The ghost ship section requires manipulating a block to access a ladder, then playing Zelda's Lullaby. Defeat skeletons quickly to prevent the ship from sinking. A room with 4 exits follows. A quick tip warns about regenerating skeletons on the ghost ship. Remember to utilize the Lens of Truth throughout the dungeon. The Shadow Temple walkthrough continues, detailing the steps to acquire the boss key. Players must defeat an invisible shadow hand in the bottom room and navigate crushing spiked walls, which can be neutralized with Din's fire. This leads to a platform room. Bomb plants are used to create a bridge to the locked door. The guide then focuses on the boss, Bongo Bongo. Players should use hover boots to cross invisible platforms. The key strategy involves using arrows on the boss's hands while they are pounding the platform. Once both hands are blue, charge the Master Sword and attack the exposed eye when it gets close. The Lens of Truth is recommended for constant visibility. The quick tip emphasizes aiming for one hand first, followed by an easier battle. This guide details the Gerudo Fortress in Ocarina of Time. It begins with a dramatic introduction to the Gerudo, a race of female thieves with Ganondorf being the only male born every 100 years. The guide explains how to get captured to enter the fortress, ride into Gerudo Valley, and let a guard see you. Once inside, use the long shot to escape the cell. Next, it instructs the player to free the first carpenter by using the giant's knife to defeat a guard and then using arrows to dispatch more guards. The guide then covers how to defeat the Gerudo guards on the ramparts, release the second carpenter, and finally, free the third carpenter. A quick tip advises players to avoid the Gerudo guard's spinning attack to prevent getting re-imprisoned. The guide includes screenshots showcasing classic N64 graphics. Beye. This guide provides tips for Ocarina of Time, specifically focusing on the Gerudo Desert and Spirit Temple. To navigate the desert, obtain the hover boots, and follow flags, using the Sun Song for visibility. The guide then directs you to the Desert Colossus, where you'll use the Lens of Truth to find a ghost and blow up walls for Great Fairies and Nairu's love. It also mentions an empty oasis. For the Spirit Temple, play the Song of Storms at a fairy fountain to gather fairies. After meeting Sheik and learning the Requiem of Spirit, you'll need to revert to young Link at the Temple of Time to access part of the Spirit Temple. A quick tip advises changing direction to avoid desert critters. Finally, the guide promotes a controller review elsewhere in the magazine, tie-in. The walkthrough for Ocarina of Time's Spirit Temple begins with young Link needing to enter. Players meet a friendly Gerudo upstairs. The advice is to play it cool and say no when asked about Ganondorf to gain treasure. The guide then details the dungeon itself. It starts with basic Zelda elements, crawling through gaps, defeating enemies, lighting torches, and using Deku sticks. Enemies include skeletons and green skulls requiring the boomerang and slingshot. A bridge puzzle involves the boomerang. Next, players use Din's fire on ghostly brown ghouls before grabbing rupees from treasure chests. The walkthrough continues with the usual dungeon crawling activities such as hitting switches, opening chests, and battling monsters. A quick tip offers advice on aiming the boomerang in the bridge puzzle, suggesting a slight leftward aim. This page continues the Zelda Ocarina of Time tips, moving on from the Spirit Temple dungeon. We're getting advice on using bombchus, those little bomb mice, to clear rocks, and the guide points out you need to push statues, light torches, classic Zelda puzzle solving really, to get the dungeon map naturally. Cheshu. Then it's on to Iron Knuckles, those armored blighters. Apparently they've got eye lasers now, cheeky things. The tip here is to blow them up to grab rupees, light torches to get a key, move a sunblock, and then they suggest using Din's fire or a sword knight on throne. Which is a bit of a weird phrase, probably means a sword attack against the knight, or perhaps they mean use a sword on a knight who's on a throne, bit unclear that. Finally, there's a tip about the silver gauntlet, which they say wakes up an iron knuckle, making it a slow-moving nutter in armor. Charming description. The advice is to keep your distance, do a jump attack, then dart out again. And a quick tip at the bottom reiterates the iron knuckle point, saying to stay out of sword range and stab when they swing, especially with the giant sword. All solid, if slightly basic, advice for tackling those tough knights in Ocarina. Goodness knows how many times we all got flattened by those guys back in the day. This guide details the Gerudo training required to obtain the ice arrows in Ocarina of Time, though they aren't essential to beat the game. The first challenge involves collecting rupees in a room. You'll need to defeat enemies for a key, use hover boots, collect all rupees, and use the Song of Time to reveal blocks. The final rupee requires the hookshot. Next, you'll swim against a current, grabbing rupees while avoiding clams. The long shot is used to reach some, while others require removing boots and swimming to the ceiling. Finally, you'll smash statues in a lava room, using the long shot to reach a high area. This leads to a switch, a key, and a gold eye that opens a door. A quick tip advises patience and careful planning when collecting rupees, emphasizing the need to identify long-shot targets and optimize collection order. This guide details the steps to obtain the ice arrows in Ocarina of Time. First, test your arrow shooting skills by hitting statues' eyes in a room filled with classic Zelda puzzle elements. Use the long shot and collect keys while fighting skeletons. Next, use the lens of truth to navigate a room, dodge fire, find secret passages, and collect more keys. Finally, use the silver gauntlets to move a block, defeat shield eaters, and utilize the lens of truth to find a hidden chest. After collecting more keys and navigating corridors, you'll reach the ice arrows. The guide also offers a tip: get arrows from clams if you struggle with the statue shooting. This guide covers the Spirit Temple dungeon in Ocarina of Time, focusing on the adult Link section. The walkthrough starts with battle wolves, involving arrow switches, chests requiring Zelda's lullaby, and a long shot for the compass. Players will navigate rooms, collect rupees, and use hover boots to progress. Next is Invisible Shadow Hand, where players fight a shield eater, use the lens of truth to find an invisible hand, and solve a puzzle involving a statue. Finally, Giant Mummy Statue involves backtracking to an Egyptian statue room. Players will climb the statue, play Zelda's lullaby, and collect keys from chests. The guide includes a tip about climbing a wall if you fall. Overall, the guide provides a straightforward, step-by-step walkthrough for the dungeon. This section of the Spirit Temple walkthrough focuses on obtaining crucial items for progression. The first objective is acquiring the Mirror Shield, involving backtracking, Bombchu and Din's fire usage against enemies, and defeating an Iron Knuckle. Next, the guide details puzzles involving reflecting sunlight onto sun symbols to obtain a key. This is followed by navigating a room with floating ghouls and utilizing the hookshot. Finally, the walkthrough describes the process of getting the boss key, including playing Zelda's lullaby, bomb usage to reveal targets, employing ice arrows, and the long shot. This section concludes with more sunlight puzzles to open a new passage. The guide offers a tip about the difficulty of reflecting light. After obtaining the Mirror Shield in the Spirit Temple, the walkthrough continues. You must use the shield to reflect light onto sun symbols, lowering a platform and revealing a statue. Destroy the statue with reflected light to access a grate, then prepare for an Iron Knuckle battle. Afterwards, you'll face the Twin Rover Witches, a challenging boss. The strategy involves using the Mirror Shield to reflect their fire and ice attacks. Absorb 3 of the same type, and reflect the third to stun them, then attack with your sword. Defeating them unlocks a cutscene and leads you back to the Temple of Time to get the light arrows. Remember to stock up on fairies and avoid mixing absorbed magic types during the Twin Rover fight. Kek2. Ganon's Castle in Ocarina of Time is a daunting dungeon with multiple barrier challenges after the Spirit Temple. The entrance involves the sages creating a rainbow bridge. Inside, the forest barrier requires torches and light arrows. Bombchu target practice features a water barrier, requiring blue fire, ice puzzles, and bombchus. The desert barrier involves moving statues and switches. The Golden Gauntlet section includes a shadow barrier with fire arrows and switches, followed by the lens of truth to navigate ice paths. The red barrier demands rupee collection and platform manipulation. The sun barrier utilizes the golden gauntlets to reveal a key and Zelda's lullaby. Each section involves solving puzzles, collecting rupees, and shooting orbs with light arrows to progress. A quick tip suggests using the lens of truth to reveal a hidden orb. The final battle with Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time begins after the door opens. Players are advised to visit the Great Fairy for a damage meter boost. The journey to Ganondorf's chamber includes battling tough Iron Knuckles and finding a room with pots for resources. The first phase of the fight involves lethal tennis with energy balls. Reflect the orbs with the Master Sword until Ganondorf misses, then hit him with a light arrow. In the next stage, Ganondorf uses green homing lasers. Quickly use the Master Sword or a ring attack to deflect them. If missed, be ready to use magic or the charged Master Sword. Aim carefully with light arrows. As his hitbox is small, 5 or 6 hits should defeat him. Tagie. This guide details the final stages of the Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. After seemingly defeating Ganondorf, the castle collapses. Link must escort Zelda to safety while battling enemies and navigating the crumbling structure. The next phase reveals Ganondorf's true form, Beast Ganon, who initiates a final battle. The guide suggests equipping the Bigoron sword. The fight involves stunning Ganon, striking his tail, and repeating the process, culminating in using light arrows. The guide concludes by congratulating the player on saving Hyrule. A secret ending cutscene awaits. A quick tip suggests using stones for extra resources during the final battle. Cuticua. This page looks like the cover of a little tips booklet, probably came with the magazine itself. It says this tips book is presented free with the February issue of the Nintendo official magazine. There you go. And it's got a picture of Link on the front, looking like he's ready for action, definitely in his Ocarina of Time getup. It also says, not to be sold separately. Which is fair enough, it's a freebie. Down the bottom, it's the usual copyright info for Nintendo and EMAP active, dating it back to '98, makes sense with Ocarina of Time being the big game back then. So yeah, looks like a handy little guide to go with the February issue, likely continuing on from the Ocarina of Time stuff we were just looking at.